y'all. What's up?
Oh, Tony, yo, what's up, kid? I see you in a long time, man.
Tony, what's up, nigga?
I'll holler at y'all later.
All right, man. Peace.
Tony? Tony?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Chilling. Good seeing you. Yeah, man. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Marc L. Abbott of HobbCat Productions. It's good to see you in New York. Now, what part of the Big Apple do you hail from?
I'm actually in the borough of Brooklyn.
Okay. All right, well, tell us about your hood and how it influenced you on your journey down this literary road.
Well, I know it influenced one of my stories. The very first novel that I actually published under my company name, The Hooky Party. Basically growing up in a kind of semi-suburb type of area of Brooklyn. I mean, we have Brooklyn is made up of all different kinds of, you have some parts that are the projects, some parts, kind of flat laid out. So I kind of grew up in a neighborhood where we were on the borderline of not really, I would say, suburb type, but then we weren't too much in the streets. So we kind of was in the middle and kind of was able to pick up the flavor of both sides, kind of get a feel of exactly how the borough breathes, how it lives. And a lot of that was incorporated into my first novel of teen adolescence, growing up, coming of age, making mistakes, and just paying for those mistakes as you come along. So that's Brooklyn's a wonderful place. It's gaining a lot of interest now. People are moving to Brooklyn more. There was a time where people didn't even want to come to Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn is the place to be. It's shops, places to eat, everything. So it's a wonderful place.
Awesome. I've definitely got to get to know Brooklyn better. I admit I was a tourist when I went through Brooklyn, and I can't tell you anything that I saw. But I do appreciate you for the video bites. You're welcome. So thanks so much for that. So tell me, how did you come up with the name HobbCat? I saw it on your film. I love it. It's so perfectly official. So how did you come up with that?
This is actually very interesting. I had a cat named Hobbs, and basically I wanted to write him off on my taxes. And the tax people said because he wasn't human and he didn't have a social security number, I couldn't write him off as a dependent. So figuring the only thing this cat ever did was really lay around and catch mice or do whatever cats do, I figured I'd put him to work by using his name. So basically I named the company after the cat. So it's an easy way to create a company and kind of write him off and kind of make him the figurehead. If you notice, both my publishing and now my LLC, the kind of mascot is actually the cat. So that's where I got the name from.
Genius. I love it. Genius. Yes. Now, I heard about your stage play that is currently in production rehearsals as we speak.
Yes.
So can you tell us about it? Is it your first live production?
No, actually, this is my second play. This one is my first play was called A Gamble of Faith, which was based on a novel that I wrote. And that was a little more leaning toward an inspirational type of play. This one coming out in May is called Three Isn't a Couple. And it's not an inspirational play. It's more of it's a strong drama about a woman who has to make the choice between her boyfriend and her friend with benefits. They've basically given her an ultimatum on which of the two she has to decide to spend her life with. And she's caught in between these two guys. And pretty much, I mean, I really wouldn't say it's your standard kind of drama, because what I'm doing is there's a kind of a twist of how I'm directing it, where I have them engaging the audience rather than just it being them on stage playing out the roles. They do that as well, but they actually do engage the audience and talk to the audience and explain. Each person gets a chance to explain their side of the story before we really get into her making the decision. So it's a 2-act play, and yeah, we've been going strong in rehearsals since about late November, early December.
Wow, that sounds great. I cannot wait to catch you live and in theater, your work live and in theater. So, published author, HobbCat Blogger, theatrical playwright, and filmmaker. Let me start off by saying I enjoyed your debut film on YouTube, A Fly on the Wall.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you give us the premise of A Fly on the Wall and tell us where it was shot and tell us a little bit about the cast?
Well, that was one of those projects where, you know, I was kind of goofing around with some friends and we were talking about different types of relationships and pretty much, you know, the different things we had gone through, some stories that we had heard. And basically the idea, really what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a film where the camera itself never stopped moving. Yeah. I kind of got the idea from Nicolas Cage's movie, Snake Eyes, where the opening sequence where he's walking through to a boxing match and the camera just continuously follows him all through this entire match. And I love that idea. I love that idea of just constant movement. And so I thought about it and I said, you know, when you go to a party, you're kind of moving around the room, you're listening in, you're talking to people, but you're also listening in on other people's conversations. So this would be a novel idea for a film where you are pretty much behind the camera. You're following the camera along through this party and you're kind of listening in on the different relationship issues, the different problems people are having, all the while you're caught up in this whole event of this story where this couple is having an anniversary party and the male counterpart of the couple is missing and nobody knows where he is. So while everybody's waiting for him to show up or trying to find out where he is, we follow these people along and listen in on their conversations and learn a little bit about them. The film was shot here in Brooklyn, actually in my apartment, because I had no money. So we couldn't go on locations and shoot at the time. So I basically cleared out the apartment, left basically furniture that didn't need to be moved where it was. And my cinematographer and I, Tenolian, what we did was we mic'd each room. We put a mic on the ceiling of each room that we were going to shoot in. So as we left one room, we killed the mic in one room and we opened the mic up on another room. That way we never had to actually follow anybody around with a boom mic. And then basically what we did was to get that whole concept of continuous movement, since when you shoot films like that, it has to stop. You can't really follow the characters along and kill the mics in each room as you go along. You kind of have to stop. So we had to find ways of breaking the film without it looking like we're breaking it. So that's why a lot of times you see the camera walk into somebody's chest while they're walking toward the camera, and then we'd flip the camera around to their back and have them walking away, and then you kind of get that effect of the camera continuously moving. With the cast was interesting because I basically did an open call in backstage here in New York. I just put an ad in the paper and I said I needed people between the ages of 25 and 30, maybe a little bit younger, to be in this piece. And I was pretty much everybody at the time, for the exception of maybe one person in the film, everybody was pretty much brand new to acting. They were all either had done some stage work or done some commercial work, and they really wanted to get involved in something. And even though I couldn't pay them, this was something that they could take with them. We could make dubs and copies and everything. So the deal was everybody joined up. We rehearsed from January to early May, 1 day a week. I would have the entire cast come over and we'd rehearse. And originally the cast couldn't figure out why I didn't break it up into separate rehearsals, but I told them, once we get ready to shoot the film, you'll understand. And basically, because they all started to become friends and they started talking to each other, when we got ready to shoot the film, they seemed very relaxed. It didn't look like a bunch of people who were just casted in a film. They actually looked like they knew each other and were like a family. So it was a lot easier to shoot the film that way. So that was pretty much what we did with that.
Feeling Oh, Mark, genius.
That's what we're aiming for.
Now tell me, is this your first film?
This was my first official finished film out of college. I shot the film in 2001, actually. And at the time, of course, there was no YouTube, there was no MySpace, Facebook, none of this stuff existed. So the idea was originally to send it into the film festivals. And unfortunately, the film couldn't get into any festival because either it was too short or was too long. It couldn't find a category for it. It was a good piece and people enjoyed it, but unfortunately they couldn't find a decent category to put it in because of its length. So it actually was the first film that I had officially finished. I had shot one other film prior to that, but we had so many issues with editing it, and even during the shoot it was really difficult. We didn't get everything that we needed, so we kind of chalked that up to an experience and decided when we did Fly on the Wall, we'd go a different route. We wouldn't do the same thing we did with the first piece that I tried. But I did a couple of pieces in college that I had a camcorder and did the whole Spike Lee thing. I grabbed up as many students who were wandering around as I could and would shoot stuff on campus. But this was my first official pure piece that I ever did. How
did you come to cast Melyssa Ford? She held her own in the film, so how did that happen?
There is a story to that. Basically what happened was there was another girl playing the role, and she developed what only could be called as a diva complex. And outside of everybody in the film, she was the only one making demands. Like, she kind of had us caught between a rock and a hard place. She was difficult during the rehearsals, but then when we got to the shoot, it was even worse. It was just, nitpicking at everything, refusing to cooperate and things of that nature. So we only shot Fly on the Wall on the weekends in May. We scheduled for every weekend in May to shoot the entire film. We never shot during the week. So I was busy helping Tino and a couple of other friends of mine out on other projects. And it actually happened that Tino was working on a music video and got into a conversation with her about a completely different piece altogether. And so I was doing kind of a screen test for her. And when we were done, we got into a conversation. I said, well, I'm doing this film. And, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet you before because, I would have, I'm trying to get people who aren't really established yet. So she said, well, if something comes up, let me know. I'd be more than happy to be a part of the project. Well, our original actress stormed off the set, vowing never to come back, with, I guess, in her head she was destroying the film. It would never get done. And Tino and I looked at each other and I said, call Melyssa. So he called her up and she was on a photo shoot in Florida and she said, you know what, I'll be back by the middle of the week. Fax me the script and I'll read it, and when I get back, we can begin. And basically that's exactly what happened. We sent her the script, and that next weekend she walked right through the door, was on point, and we just went back and did over all the scenes that the other girl had done, which wasn't many because we just couldn't get anything done in that environment. And she ended up being in the piece. And it was, at the time, her career as a model was just taking off. She had done some stuff in Vibe and everything. So a lot of the guys, of course, most of the guys knew exactly who she was when she walked through the door. It was interesting. It was something that I didn't think of it as, oh, I have a celebrity in the film. I thought of it as, oh my goodness, it's a godsend that she agreed to do this. And she was extremely professional, and literally just fit right in. You would think that somebody coming in the middle of a shoot, people would be like, I don't know about this. Of course, the men didn't have any complaints at all.